Hey gamers! The last video like this got incredible support, so I'm happy to present the second collection of games that will blow your mind in 2025. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. A game called Barkour. The gaming industry has plenty of great cat games, but just look at Stray. But dogs haven't been quite as lucky for some reason. That's why Warsaw Studios, known for Bee Simulator, has announced their new dog game. Barkour is a stealth action where we play as Spy Dog 009, working for a secret organization where all agents are animals united by one goal: to save the world from evil forces and mischievous cats. Our dog is named Thunder, described as a trained professional. But deep down, he's still just a regular dog. He still needs to chase his tail, scratch behind his ear, and occasionally sniff someone's, backside. Even in the middle of combat, yeah. Dangerous, yet undeniably charming, he's the perfect combination of agent and man's best friend. Beyond his perfect acrobatics and lightning-fast movements, Thunder has extensive combat experience, making him a formidable opponent. Worth noting that Thunder won't be completing dangerous missions alone, but with an AI companion named Alfred. Barkour should launch on PC and consoles in 2025. Which consoles? That's still unknown. Mindseye. Build a Rocket Boy studio founded by Leslie Benzies, the lead developer of GTA 3 and subsequent successful titles up to the 5th installment, has revealed the first gameplay footage of Mindseye. Mindseye is a story-driven single-player action game with adventure elements. The game transports you to the near future, where artificial intelligence collides with human greed, pushing Earth to the brink of destruction. Gameplay is based on 3 key elements: an engaging plot, strategic combat, and dynamic driving like GTA. Developers will tell the story of Jake Badius, a former soldier with a Mindseye neuroimplant who decides to unravel the mystery of his past. He ends up in the fictional city of Red Rock, where he confronts the company that developed the implants. Soon he realizes that his personal mission takes on a more global scale, capable of changing the fate of the entire planet. Mindseye will offer battles both on land and in the air, including strategic mechanics with cover and using technology to survive. Well, friends, I gather this will be something in the spirit of GTA mixed with Cyberpunk and Watch Dogs. Well, let's see what the former lead developer of GTA games has in store for us. Good news, the game launches summer 2025 on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Something to keep us busy until GTA 6 comes out. GDM Japanese Drift. Racers, soon you'll be able to immerse yourself in a world of high speeds, roaring engines, and, of course, smoking tires. Because we're looking at the new game GDM Japanese Drift, this is a real gift for all fans of GDM culture. In GDM Japanese Drift, developers have placed major emphasis on realistic drift physics and precise driving sensations. There are no arcade elements here. Every movement requires skill. Cars react to every press of the gas, clutch, and properly timed engine revs. One of the game's main features is a huge car collection with legendary GDM machines, from the iconic Toyota Supra to the Nissan Skyline. Developers have carefully recreated Tokyo's streets and, of course, dangerous Japanese mountain passes and winding roads. Basically, friends, this is a real find for Japanese motorsport enthusiasts. Realistic physics, extensive car customization options, and a full 250 kilometers of Japanese roads for drifting. All this makes the game one of the best in the genre. If you're a drift fan and love GDM culture in general, this game is absolutely perfect for you. The game releases March 26, 2025. A game called 83. This is an upcoming first-person multiplayer shooter being developed by Blue Dot Games. The game transports you to an alternative history where, in 1983, the Cold War erupted into a burning conflict between NATO forces and Warsaw Pact countries. You'll participate in battles involving more than 80 people on vast maps, where 2 large groups of players fight each other, capturing and holding key objectives that significantly impact the course of battle. The game will feature a wide selection of real infantry weapons and equipment, as well as powerful ground and air vehicles capable of changing the outcome of any fight. The game will offer realistic visuals thanks to Unreal Engine 5.4. The official release date hasn't been announced yet, but the game 83 is expected to be available in early access by the end of 2025. It will launch on PC and consoles. Which specific consoles? The developers haven't announced that yet, so we're waiting for fresh news. Days Gone Remastered. A pleasant surprise for Days Gone fans. On February 12, 2025, Band Studio announced Days Gone Remastered for PC and PlayStation 5. To celebrate, they released a small trailer. And the good news is you won't have to wait long to get your hands on it. The game will be available April 25th, 2025. This new edition of the open-world action game offers noticeably improved graphics, new features, and new modes for players wanting to rediscover the story of St. John, a former biker trying to survive in a world crawling with freakers. This remaster should be the definitive version for both new and returning players. Days Gone Remastered has visually transformed significantly. Developers have added improved textures and more detailed character and environment models. They've added a new lighting and shadow system, making the picture more cinematic and beautiful. They've also added 4K resolution support, unlocked frame rates, and improved sound. And briefly about the new modes that will definitely be available at release. First, Horde Mode. This is an arcade challenge where you face endless waves of freakers. Second mode, Permadeath, or simply put, Hardcore Mode. One defeat and you start your playthrough all over again. And third mode, Speedrun. This is a competitive mode where players can compare their completion times on a leaderboard. That's all that's known about the Days Gone remaster so far. And the best news in all this, friends, is that Sony hasn't forgotten about this game after all, which gives at least a small, but still a hope for a Days Gone sequel. And nobody can stop me from dreaming. Anyway, we're waiting for more fresh news. Lost Soulicide. The long-awaited action game. Lost Soulicide from Altai Games finally has a release date. The game launches May 30th, 2025 on PC and PS5. This ambitious project, at which started, I remind you, as the work of a single developer, now represents a large-scale adventure with unique combat and spectacular graphics. The developers promise us a living, detailed world filled with mysteries, monsters, and unexpected events. Players will be able to explore ancient ruins, alternative dimensions, and beautiful, scenic locations, each offering its own challenges. The key feature of the game is lightning-fast combat gameplay. The main character, Cassier's weapon, can change form, adapting to the player's style. From precise sword strikes to long-range attacks and high mobility. Boss battles promise to be truly spectacular duels, requiring aerial dodges, counterattacks, and non-stop combos. An important role is played by the dragon-like companion Arena, who will help you in battle with unique abilities. Beyond the action, the game will feature a deep storyline about redemption and power mysteries, complementing the intense gameplay. Lost Soulicide is already available for pre-order, and developers will soon share new details about mechanics and plot. And again, friends, the game launches May 30th, 2025 on PlayStation 5 and PC. Terminator Survivors. You'll play as a survivor exploring an open world that remains after Judgment Day. You can play both solo or in co-op with friends. Gather resources to build a base for what's left of humanity. But remember, friends, you're not alone in this world. You're hunted by Skynet machines and various enemy factions. 4 whole years have passed since humanity nearly vanished from the face of the Earth. The full truth about those events still remains unknown. You leave your shelter and try to build some semblance of society in a crazy world where everything is against you and machines are trying with all their might to eliminate what's left of humanity. Act alone, or in cooperative mode with up to 4 friends. Help humanity rise from the ashes and learn the whole truth about Skynet and the Terminator. Killer Bean. This upcoming action roguelite lets you take on the role of a cocoa bean who embodies all the cool traits of every action hero and spy you've ever seen. Even if he looks like, well, a bean with arms. But for many, he's nostalgic, reminiscent of cartoons from childhood. After being betrayed by the shadow agency Killer Bean worked for and learning the truth about their evil plans, Killer Bean decided to dedicate his life to destroying them. However, this is easier said than done, as Killer Bean will face armies of enemies who are better trained and stronger than him. The humorous gameplay trailer shows the game's open world, which transforms every time you start a new solo campaign. As the hitman Killer Bean, you can destroy enemies in both first and third person, enemies ranging from soldiers to giant Metal Gear-like walking mechs, apply wrestling moves to them, blow them up with rockets, or just run them over in your car. Killer Bean will enter early access on Steam this summer. A game called Mafia: The Old Country. Developers from Hangar 13 have shared development details and talked a bit about new features to expect in the game. The developer revealed that The Old Country will be the first game in the series with main events taking place outside the US. The plot will tell the story of the Teresi Mafia family's rise in Sicily in the early 20th century. The game will explore the theme of the Mafia phenomenon's origins in Italian culture. This unusual setting allowed the team to implement completely new mechanics for the series, like horseback riding as in Red Dead Redemption and knife duels. Before creating Virtual Sicily, it would be good to visit the real island. Thought Hangar 13, and here's what they say. We wouldn't make this game if we didn't feel we could do justice to the setting. So the first thing we did was visit Sicily ourselves to absorb its sights and sounds and learn about the island and its culture firsthand. Mafia. The old country is scheduled for release in summer 2025. They're not specifying which month yet. The game will release on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Lies of P Overture. Round 8, studio and publisher NeoWiz have announced a major expansion, Overture, for the Souls-like Lies of P. It will be available in summer 2025, but developers will announce more precise release dates a bit later. Lies of P Overture is a dramatic prequel to the famous Souls-like action RPG Lies of P. The Overture DLC takes you to the period when Krat is about to be overwhelmed by puppet madness. You follow the trail of a legendary guard, a mysterious guide through stories of ancient times. Revealing the city's sinister secrets while controlling a deadly puppet created by Geppetto, you'll explore Krat and its surroundings, solving mysteries and engaging in grand battles that shape not only the past, but also the future of Lies of P. You'll face unexpected discoveries, losses, and vengeance. On Steam, by the way, the expansion page is already available, so you can add the DLC to your wishlist to be the first to know the release date. Glory to the Heroes. This is a new tactical first-person shooter developed by Space Dev Games. The game is dedicated to modern military conflicts and offers realistic gameplay, recreating combat based on real events. Various military units, equipment, and weapons will be available, allowing players to choose their role on the battlefield. The developers pay special attention to realistic physics, ballistics, and environmental interaction to create the most authentic war atmosphere possible. Glory to the Heroes offers both a single-player campaign and multiplayer battles where players can form squads and complete tactical missions. The main emphasis is on cooperative gameplay and team interaction, so it's better to play this game with friends. Currently, the game is in active development, and an exact release date hasn't been announced. However, you can already check out the alpha version of the multiplayer mode, which demonstrates this project's potential. Far Cry 7. An insider who has previously attempted to be silenced by developers from Ubisoft has once again revealed new details about Far Cry 7. According to the fresh leak, the 7th installment of the popular shooter might send players to New England, a region on the US-Canada border. Initial rumors from 2023 pointed to Alaska, but now sources claim that the action will unfold among majestic castles, mountain ranges, and dense forests of New England, which is just perfect for the series' atmosphere. The source of the leak was a Reddit user who had previously provided information about Far Cry 7, but his post was immediately deleted at Ubisoft's request, which might indicate the information's accuracy. The plot will revolve around the wealthy and influential Bennett family, which includes 5 heirs. It's still unclear which side of the barricades they'll be on with the main character, but within the family itself, there will be a struggle for inheritance. One of the main villains is named Ian Duncan, described as a conspiracy theorist and just someone who envies the Bennett's wealth and influence. Duncan has gathered an entire army of followers who are angry at these rich people. And you know what, friends? All this strongly reminds me of something. Specifically, the story from Far Cry 5 with the Seed family who gathered an army of religious fanatics, and many are already suggesting that Far Cry 7 will be a kind of reimagining of the 5th part, but this time in the urban setting of New England. Alright, let's wait for official information from Ubisoft themselves. An FPS shooter from Vreski Studio. Last year, the creators of John Wick 4 noted that one of the film's brightest scenes was inspired by an action game from Vreski Studio, the Hong Kong Massacre. Now, millions of eyes around the world are watching the small Vreski Studio, and the team clearly doesn't intend to disappoint their new fans. The developers have released another spectacular trailer featuring gameplay of their still unnamed FPS shooter. The video shows us an action scene where elements of, I think, the first Max Payne, Fear, and other shooters with time slowdown are quickly recognizable. Well yeah, except that Max Payne only learned to hold a shotgun in one hand and a pistol in the other by the 3rd game. But otherwise, it's quite similar. The game is being developed on the new Unreal Engine 5 with Nanite, Lumen, and other innovations. And I don't know about you guys, but personally, I really like how the game looks. Unfortunately, the release date and target platform list for Vreski's shooter still don't exist. Although the developers have been publishing gameplay fragments for more than 3 years now, since February 2021. During this time, they've released 3 gameplay trailers, so the team is clearly working hard. We're waiting for more news about this rather interesting shooter. Borderlands 4. During Sony's State of Play presentation, Randy Varnell and Randy Pitchford presented a new Borderlands 4 trailer and finally announced the game's release date. While the previous Borderlands 4 trailer, presented during the Game Awards in December, focused more on characters and humor, the new one demonstrates multiple shootouts and destroying enemies with diverse weapons. The new game offers a lot of interesting features, including new mechanics. They've added sliding, double jumping, and a grappling hook. There will be plenty of action in the game, but perhaps less humor. Borderlands 4 is a chaos-filled looter shooter, packed with diverse weapons, fierce enemies, and interesting cooperative action. The release of Borderlands 4 is scheduled for September 23rd, 2025. A game called Nobody's Left. Nobody's Left was first shown a couple of years ago, but just recently the authors at Mindseye Studio opened the Adventure Action Games Steam page, which caught my attention. How does it all begin? When the world situation becomes more fragile than ever, the last fruit of peace is engulfed by war. A once-safe paradise transforms into a post-war apocalyptic city ruled by lawlessness and jungle law. No one can feel safe anymore. Fear dominates everywhere, and survival becomes a necessity. Now all people have just one task: to protect their loved ones. But at what cost? You'll find out soon. The game releases in 2025, with launch planned only for PC. Unfortunately, not a word about consoles yet. The Midnight Walk. Sony's State of Play showed a trailer for the horror game, The Midnight Walk, which will release on May 8th on Steam, PlayStation 5, and in VR. The game is frame-by-frame animated using real clay figures, so the game's visuals look quite distinctive. The Midnight Walk is a new indie adventure from the creators of Lost in Random. Befriend a lonely lantern and light your way through a wondrous yet terrifying world. You'll need to outsmart monsters and explore the eerie landscape details created, attention, by hand from real clay and animated frame by frame. I've never seen games like this before. This is something new. And once again, friends, the game will release May 8th on Steam, PlayStation 5, and in VR. Battlefield 6. Soon the Battlefield franchise will return with a new installment. DICE Studio has shared immediate plans for the project. Recently, DICE reminded us about the Battlefield franchise. The developers presented Battlefield Labs, a special map, and, as I understand it, part of the company where gamers can test the new shooter. According to the developers, the new Battlefield has already entered a key production stage. And as claimed, gamer feedback will directly influence how the game will ultimately look. I gather the developers don't want a repeat of Battlefield 2042 and want to resurrect the legendary fourth game. In Battlefield Labs, gamers will be invited to test core gameplay mechanics and concepts. Not everything will make it into the final version, and as usual, there will be NDAs. Simply put, non-disclosure agreements, so unfortunately they won't show us much. Well, let's at least wait for a proper gameplay trailer. It's hard to say anything based on a 15-second trailer, you know. Okay, time will tell, but overall it's pleasant news. Darklight Survivor. Mirari Studio, creators of the Metroidvania Darklight, have released their second gameplay trailer for the isometric roguelike action game, Darklight Survivor. Players, as one of the last humans, will journey on a phantom train through a destroyed multiverse in search of the legendary Elysium. Each universe was destroyed, and you'll have to fight to gather resources for the next jump. Players will be able to change the camera angle from isometric to third-person view almost anytime. Darklight Survivor will release in mid-2025 on PC. Developers aren't saying anything about consoles yet. Hell is Us. Rock Factor Studio has released a new trailer for their dark sci-fi action game, Hell is Us, and they've even announced an exact release date. The game releases September 4th, 2025. And I remind you, friends, that the creative director of the game is the art director of the legendary game Deus Ex: Human Revolution himself. Hell is Us is set in a territory hit by a wave of disasters. The country is mired in civil war, and in one region, supernatural creatures have appeared that aren't affected by conventional weapons and bullets. However, the most terrifying demon remains, of course, human. Hell is Us is a third-person RPG in an open world, and your main arsenal consists of swords, spears, and axes. a drone somehow helps in fighting the creatures. The developers also highlight a unique world exploration system. There's no map, compass, or quest markers. Everything is based solely on your instincts and curiosity. Hell Is Us releases September 4th this year. The game launches on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. A game called The Elder Scrolls 6. Bethesda congratulated players on the Elder Scrolls series' 30th anniversary and stated they're happy with the Elder Scrolls 6 development progress. The company is celebrating an important milestone for the studio. Its flagship series, The Elder Scrolls, turns 30. As part of the celebration, the team looked back at the journey and talked about the franchise's future. It all began with The Elder Scrolls Arena, released in 1994. And since then, the franchise has grown stronger and stronger. Of course, Skyrim is one of the most famous and modifiable games over all these years, but the Elder Scrolls list includes other projects that have already released and will release, including The Elder Scrolls 6. We know that work on The Elder Scrolls 6 is in full swing, as it was launched in pre-production back in 2018. And in 2023, after Starfield's debut, it moved into active development. And here's what the developers themselves say. We're already working on the next chapter, The Elder Scrolls 6. Even now, returning to Tamriel and playing an early version fills us with joy, excitement, and a sense of adventure. Although the release date for the next chapter, The Elder Scrolls 6, hasn't been determined yet. They say it might appear as soon as 2025. And I hope, guys, that this is true. And that's where we'll end today. These are certainly not all the anticipated games, so if you want to see a continuation, support the video with a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos!